it out, air it out. I had to clear it out, clear it out. I feel like Superman to tear it down. Call as a quarterback and send him out. I feel to air it out, air it out. I had to clear it out, clear it out. I feel like Superman to tear it down. Call as a quarterback and send him out. Take off. I'm on a rocket, a space dog. Bought a new car from Elon, wanna race. I've been asking how long is it gonna take. I've been cracking the car, had to break it safe. I've been riding my wrongs, had to change my ways. I was stuck in one place, so I had to shake. They try holding me down, but I found my way. Riding rich and so bicycle love me. Right away, then my heart went on ice again. Find the balance, my patience been going thin. In the field every day till I reach the end. I've been up on your side like we out of bounds. Ain't no way that they think that it's stopping now. I've been waiting for my turn to come around. I've been waiting for my turn to come around. Air it out, air it out. I had to clear it out, clear it out. I feel like Superman to tear it down. Call as a quarterback and send him out. I'm finna air it out, air it out. I had to clear it out, clear it out. I feel like Superman to tear it down. Call as a quarterback and send him out.
What's up, football fans, and welcome to the Air It Out Podcast, brought to you by Inside the Hashes. That's right, it's the Air It Out Podcast, and I am your host, Avery Collins, and I'm joined by two of the most world-renowned, if I do say so myself, analysts on the planet. That's right, everybody say what's up to the man below me, Mr. Chris Thomas. Chris, say what's up to the people.
What's going on, peoples? Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. We were just talking a little bit earlier. The Phillies and the Braves kick off today in their playoff series. Go Phils. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. And then right here, it's none other than the one and only Mr. 1+1, if you will. Juan, say what's up to the people.
What's up? Juan+1 will soon be Juan whole person in less than a month. Very excited about it. Fiance coming in a little under 3 weeks, and it's gonna be a magical time. I don't know how y'all will do without me while I'm on my honeymoon, but it's gonna be a magical time.
Listen, man, you enjoy that honeymoon. Have fun. Again, congratulations to you. Take as much time as you need, sir. Take as much time as you need. CEO is in the building. What's up, sir? We don't care about those guys.
I'm not gonna lie, it's funny. So I was for the MLB real quick. My pick for the World Series was the Brewers and the Rays going into the season, and then they both got swept in the wild card. That is insane. But post October baseball is unpredictable, guys, and. Chris, I'll be rooting for your Phillies all the way. I think they should have won last year against those cheating Houston Astros. Hot take for any Astros fans out there in the universe, but I am fully supporting of Bryce Harper and Trey Tucker and that crew there, and also of Nick Castellanos, if not only for the memes, my friend.
Yeah. Trey Turner. And yes, go Phils. We definitely should have won last year. It is what it is. Listen, I'm gonna just say it. I'm gonna say it again, and I'm gonna keep screaming it from the hills. Mike Trout, come on home.
No,
you're not winning anything in LA. You're not. Come on home. Bring Shohei. We will treat you both very well. Okay, but this is not the MLB podcast. This is the Air It Out Podcast where it's all things pro football. That is correct, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get into our first topic of the day. The first topic is very simple. Listen, the first quarter of the season is over. It's down. It is done. And there's been some interesting things that have happened over this first quarter of the season. I'm talking upsets. We're talking trades. We're talking injuries. We're talking all things that typically happen within the first 4 to 5 weeks of the season. I mean, they all happen, right? Holdouts ended, all different types of things, right? So I want to talk to you guys. I'll start with you. One, give me like your top 2 things that have stuck out over the first quarter of this season. How do you feel like the first quarter has played out?
how do I feel the first quarter has played out so far? You know what? The first quarter of this season can honestly be described as a next man up kind of season. We've seen a lot of teams lose a lot of key contributors very early on, and now have to rely on backups to try to bring back the expectations and the hopes that a lot of teams were having. You had Nick Chubb with the Browns, Aaron Rodgers with the Jets, Diggs with the Cowboys, David Bakhtiari with the Packers. Like, a lot of next man up mentalities have to be played in the NFL. This game is a brutal game, and backups need to do what they have to do. So onward, Zach Wilson. Onward, I forget the name of the Cleveland's current running back, but their backup Kareem Hunt, who's got re-signed back. Next man up for the offensive line for the Packers, no matter who that's going to be. And then next man up for the Cowboys quarterbacks. You got to step up and be for this stellar defense that is Super Bowl caliber. But I do want to add real quick that this has been a quarter of the year, and we don't know who the MVP is right now. Usually we have a pretty good sense of what the MVP race is going to look like, but based on how things have been playing out, it's a toss-up, to say the least. You have people ranging from Tua Tagovailoa for leading this dynamic Miami offense. If they could just keep the consistency going and not flop like they did against the Bills, you can make the argument that Kirk Cousins could be the MVP simply because he is producing despite his team's very, like, his team holding him back in certain ways. I mean, the man's averaging over 300 yards a game, probably, and has at least 11 touchdowns on the season to just 4 picks. That is peak efficiency. And this is a down year for Patrick Mahomes, but he is still finding ways to win. So he is allowed to have Jerome Ford. Thank you, boss. Same name. That's kind of funny. But he's having a peak efficiency year. If he can just turn things around for the Vikings, he could really elevated MVP conversation. You can also say Jalen Hurts, again, having a down year, but still effectively enough where he's getting the job done. I mean, 4-0 is 4-0. Am I right, Chris? And then, you know what? A dark horse who I didn't expect to be a dark horse for the MVP race, Lamar Jackson right now. Well, I did expect, I called him an MVP, but he's been underratedly much better this year, even though the numbers don't really reflect it. 4 touchdowns right now to just 1 pick, but he's completing 74% of his passes right now for Ravens offense that is looking rejuvenated and electric. Those are my 2 things.
Okay. I'm not mad at it. Very, very interesting. Yeah, I think I would agree with you on the MVP thing, man. It's a toss-up right now. I like that. Chris, what are your thoughts? How do you feel about the first quarter of the season? Anything stand out to you?
The biggest thing is that I think we overrated how good the AFC is going to be this year. It is a lot more muddier than what any of us really expected, myself included. Nobody really suspected Kansas City, even though with a 3-1 record, for their offense to look the way that they do. In all honesty, they've called a lot of several breaks, especially against the New York Jets. And if anybody literally had Zach Wilson even outplaying Patrick Mahomes on their bingo card in any sort of capacity during this season, then show me the Powerball numbers so I'll be able to cash those in tonight. Another thing is that in regards to the MVP race, the MVP is simple. And honestly, it's what the league needs in order to get respect back into the running backs' names. It's Christian McCaffrey. 4 touchdowns this past week against the Arizona Cardinals, and he has been the driving force. All it takes is one key example for success for everything to become a copycat league. You saw with the Philadelphia Eagles. Everyone then prioritized a backup quarterback and building up with the trenches. You saw when Kansas City lost, they prioritized the offensive line. If Christian McCaffrey can continue to be that driving force and win the MVP and the 49ers continue to go on to the Super Bowl and finally win it, maybe at that point it was like, maybe we can build our offense around a dynamic running back and just allow him to get as many touches as he can and build our offense from him on out. So I think that's really important caveat. And more importantly, the biggest thing for me is that my boy CJ Stroud is showing that he is the best quarterback right now throughout this entire 2023 draft class. 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He becomes one of 5 quarterbacks in NFL history to start off a season with first 4 games without throwing a single interception. You want to know the other 4 quarterbacks to start the season off? I'm not even talking about rookies. This is an elite class. Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning.
That was Dan Marino.
No, we actually talked about this on Tuesday on my show, on the Running Back Sports Show this past Tuesday. Check it out. But my co-host actually brought it up to me. That's how efficient CJ Stroud has been this year, and he's been doing this with an average offensive line, and just really young wide receiver core. So between what you're seeing with him, Anthony Richardson has definitely been, showing a lot of moxie as well. A lot of rookies have definitely been showing out this year, and this is a really good sign for the league going forward.
Definitely.
Good. I like it. So
who says Ohio State quarterbacks can't perform in the NFL?
I'm sorry?
And who says Ohio State quarterbacks can't perform in the NFL?
Me. Anywho. So
hey, how's Stetson Bennett doing?
I'm sorry?
Stetson Bennett doing?
I don't know. I don't care. At all. Roll Tide. Anyway, yeah, I agree with Christian McCaffrey being the MVP. I think that's a really good take. I would agree with that 100%. However, I don't know about it resetting the mark. Of course, he had to mention CJ Stroud and gets excited first of a million. Exactly, Jerome. But yes, I think that I don't think it resets the market only because, well, there's 2 reasons. One, he's got Brandon Ayuk playing at an extremely high level on the outside, and then Deebo Samuel as well, plus George Kittle. I mean, it's not like you can just stack the box against the 49ers because those guys can and will beat you if you do. I mean, Deebo's a running back himself, with a strength. So I don't know if you can stack a box against him. So I don't. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is, I think Christian has always been the, if you will, the Patrick Mahomes of running backs, meaning this guy is like otherworldly. He shouldn't be the bar, right? Like, he should not be the bar for what a good running back is, because he's like the exception to the rule. Like, he's that good. Like, Patrick Mahomes should not be the bar for anybody to say, this is what we're going to measure good quarterback play on. He's just that good. Like, everybody can't, like, the bar for a good quarterback, and the high bar should be something like Jalen Hurts, right? Like, there's players out there that can do what Jalen Hurts does. It's like, he's not wowing us with the things that he does from an athletic standpoint. Do not get me wrong, Jalen Hurts is extremely athletic. His IQ is out of this world. I mean, dude, he has no holes in his game, but I think he should be the bar, the standard. And again, it's a high bar for quarterbacks. Christian McCaffrey, I think, is again that exception to the rule. I think the bar for a running back should be somebody like, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could say something like Josh Jacobs. I think that's a little bit more realistic to see from running backs than Christian McCaffrey, he can catch the football out of the backfield as well as any receiver in the league. He can run the football on the edges as well as any running back in the league. He can run in between the tackles just as well as any running back in the league. But then he also is extremely shifty. He's low to the ground. He's got deceptively strong. He's got speed. He's got, like, the guy, he's a complete package. And then on top of that, he has a high IQ. He's great in pass blocking and pass protection. Like, he's a unicorn. I don't think that he should be And so with that being said, I don't think that if he were to win the MVP, it would reset the market. Now, somebody like if Jonathan Taylor were to win the MVP, that would reset the market for sure, without question. But I don't know if Christian, because of the guy he is, if he resets the market. Yes, that's right. Roll Tide, you heard it. But I'm also down with Michigan. Go Big Blue. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Juan.
I just want to say, like, the running back market, we've discussed this for weeks about how, like, the payment for running the payments for running back is at an all-time low, and it's still a position of need, even though, like, it's a recycled position. And I'm even looking at, like, the rushing leaders for this year right now. I mean, yeah, McCaffrey's number one. But then you have DeAndre Swift at number 2. No one expected him to be the lead back in Philly. Everyone thought it was going to be Kenneth Gainswell coming out of there. But no, Swift. Then James Conner, Bijan Robinson, Tony Pollard, Devon Achane, James Cook, Derrick Henry, Kenneth Walker. And Zach Moss, speaking of Jonathan Taylor, the fact that it matters is that, Christian McCaffrey's a dynamic player, but I agree with you. Like, he's not enough to reset the market because he's the exception, not the rule. One more thing I want to bring up in terms of, like, the reflection of the first quarter season, the downfall of the Patriots right now. They are absolutely horrible. A 1-3 record. Mac Jones is playing without any confidence right now. So much so that he got benched against the Cowboys, and Bill Belichick is coaching for his job right now. The fact of the matter is, while the defense is still performing above average for what it is, the offense is not at all at a standard of what a Bill Belichick offense is supposed to be. Albeit Bill has worked with less in the past before, but in the past he's had Tom Brady, a guy who can play, make, and scheme while on the field for him, or like an actual field general. Mac Jones is not that. I still believe Mac Jones has talent. I still believe that Mac Jones can be a good quarterback in this league, but under the purview of Bill Belichick, I don't think he can succeed. Bill Belichick is not scheming for his quarterback. Rather, he's trying to fit his quarterback into the mold of his offense, and the weapons are not helping him at all.
What weapons?
Devontae Parker is the only notable name right now. Juju Smith-Schuster is underperforming as a wideout. The offensive line is really injury riddled, and in the running game, it still leaves a lot to be desired.
Again, I repeat, what weapons? No offense to those guys, but
I put weapons in quotation marks. But this is setting up to the point where Bill Belichick has constructed this team in his own image, where he wants it to be, and he's done that for years. And he's succeeded for the most part, but the last 3 years have been a terrible track record for what he's built this team to be. He's ignored positions of need at the skills position. His quarterback has had 3 different offensive coordinators in the last three seasons. One of those offensive coordinators wasn't even an offensive coordinator; it was a defensive coordinator. It was 2 defensive coordinators, one special teams coordinator, 1 defensive coordinator, trying to put their minds together. And it's not the experiment in New England is not working. I think it's about time that the New England Patriots moved on from arguably the greatest coach in NFL history.
Or, and hear me out, or you go get your offensive coordinator back who's absolutely crapping it in Las Vegas. Go get him back, man. He's not a good head coach. Like
you committed to Bill O'Brien when you brought him back from the Alabama coaching
staff.
He's
a bum. He's a bum.
Or I have a suggestion. You take away Belichick's power in regards to player personnel and actually have an actual GM who prioritizes and actually knows what they're doing in regards to drafting wide receivers, who actually knows how to actually get legitimate skill position players that aren't from the defense. Belichick knows how to craft a defense better than anybody else in the league. But that's not the issue. That's not the issue. You need to have somebody.
My thing is this. I don't think it's just about the receivers. The reason I say this is because, correct me if I'm wrong, Cam Newton, Mac Jones, that first season together, they went to the playoffs. Now they lost, sure, but they went to the playoffs. without those wide receivers, without any notable names or anything like that. So Josh can get it done with the proper guys at quarterback. And I think I agree with you, Juan. I think Mac still has something to prove. I think he can be a good quarterback in his league. I just think, again, to your point, Juan, having 3 different coordinators in the last 3 years, like nobody is going. I believe it was Peyton Manning who said it. Who said the only way for a young quarterback to succeed is stop changing his offensive coordinator all the time. Like, it's going to mess them up. Just even from the language is going to be different per coordinator, right? The plays might be the same, but the language is going to be different. That's going to be an adjustment. And when you're a young player playing arguably the most important position in the NFL, you don't need all of that. It's too much going on. Let the guys develop with the guys with the coordinator. Give them 3 to 5 years together. If they suck after that, then we say, all right, this guy is just not it. But you can't. To me, it's just not a fair assessment. I
agree with that. See, I agree with that, but also at the same time, it's like, yes, they made the playoffs, but at that point, they were kind of a fringe playoff team. So you either have one or two. You can either do one or two things. You can either take it for what it is and feel like, okay, we can continue to build on this, or you can just let things stand pat. The problem is they let things stand pat. The problem is that they think that guys like Kendrick Bourne and Juju Smith-Schuster with one good knee is still good enough to do the Patriot way. No, the game is massively evolving. If you look around and even in your division, the Bills with Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen, the Miami Dolphins, the healthy two with Jaylen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, Cheetah. And even look at the Jets. When you try to get Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, there is a renaissance in regards to that entire division, in regards to prioritizing skill position players for your offense that still the Patriots refuse to adapt to. This isn't 2012 anymore. The league doesn't adapt to you anymore. You have to adapt to everybody else.
Now, those 3 teams, what do they all have in common? Their quarterback and offensive coordinator, they've gelled. They've had time to gel. Like, that's what's happening in the Patriots. There's been no time to gel. Mac has not been given the opportunity to have a GM come in and say, have a OC come in and say, listen, this is what we're going to do. We're going to work this thing out. Me and you, we're going to figure this thing out. We're going to work to your strengths. We're going to this and that, blah, blah, blah. For multiple years, he hasn't had that opportunity. Like, it's just different. You don't have to have an OC when you have Aaron Rodgers. He's the OC, right? You don't have to have a relationship. It's Aaron Rodgers, okay? You don't have to necessarily have an OC when it's Josh Allen. Josh Allen has built a reputation now of like, listen, man, I can get it done. I'll put the team on my back. I got it. I'll just find Stephon Diggs. He's down there somewhere, right? And then Tua, you don't have to have an offensive coordinator. Everybody runs slants, and let's see who can guard us. Like that's.
I equate the Bill Belichick and Mac Jones relationship to a stern parent with a kid who's just acting rebellious and getting in trouble in where they go. In this case, Mac Jones just punching people in the jewels. Not a good look, Mac. Not to mention, like, look, that relationship is fractured too. You can tell it's not respect between Mac Jones and Bill Belichick. It is fear. And if you're afraid of your own head coach while you're going out to do your job, you're not going to perform. The Patriot way worked for so long, but new players with new mentalities do not adapt. Do not accept what worked in the past. You have to adapt, as Chris said, and Bill Belichick has failed to adapt to the times. And I
absolutely.
think
so I'm not absolving Bill of I just don't believe that he deserves all of the blame. Is my stance, right? That's kind of where I land. I just don't like the narrative that it's saying, like, it's kind of coming off like that Bill Belichick is a bad coach or that he's not getting the best out of Mac Jones. It's like, if that's not his job, that's the OC's job. That's the QB coach's job. He's supposed to be getting the best out of those coaches and the team as a whole. That's what a head coach is supposed to do. And so,
sorry, I'll let you finish.
And so I just feel like that is kind of being overlooked a little bit too much. That the fact that Mac Jones's play is a direct reflection of the fact that he hasn't had any stability at the offensive coordinator position. Chris, last word, and we want to move on.
Okay. Real quick. In regards to saying, like, okay, Tua is so good that he doesn't need offense coordinator, I disagree on that. Because
I didn't say Tua was so good he doesn't need an offensive coordinator. What I said was their skill positions are so good. Everybody runs slants, and who's going to guard Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane? Like, they're just that good. Tua, all he has to do is just throw it up.
Yeah, but you still need a guy that knows how to use his personnel properly. So that's why that's why Mike McDaniels had the success that he did. In regards to Buffalo, there was a drop off in regards to how many turnovers Josh Allen had last year with Ken Dorsey, as opposed to Brian Daboll had his last year before going to the Giants. And you saw it last year when Daboll cleaned up Daniel Jones' turnovers in regards to them going to the playoffs. In the end, it's a combination of both. You need that offensive responsibility, but you also need the legitimate skill position players. In the end, I would agree with you that it's not all Belichick's fault if he also wasn't in charge of player personnel, because all those other teams were able to get skill position, legitimate high-end wide receiver ones and legitimate skill position players for their offense, except for the Patriots.
Okay, I would agree. So let me agree with you that I think it is both. However, I don't think that it always necessarily has to be that way. I'll say that to say Patrick Mahomes won the Super Bowl last year, and everybody said, oh, he wasn't going to do anything without Tyreek Hill. The skill positions outside of Travis Kelce were not good. We're not that good. They're not household names. Like, we can't name all of the other receivers that are on the Kansas City Chiefs roster. We can't do that. And then so that's KC. You look at Aaron Rodgers and the success he had in Green Bay. I mean, are we about to say that the skill positions in Green Bay were phenomenal? Now, again, we're talking about two Hall of Fame quarterbacks, sure. So I'm not even about to ignore that fact. But the point is that it can be done. We saw Deion Branch. Come on, man. Come on. Like, I'm just saying, in Bill Belichick's system, you run the football, you play solid defense, you don't turn the ball over, and if there's a connection and a cohesiveness with the OC and the quarterback, you can have success. That's just merely my point. But I do agree with you that it obviously takes more as well. But again, and we talk about Juju Smith-Schuster, he was on that Super Bowl roster. He won. Like, he still can be a formidable player. So can Devontae Parker. Like, I just feel like they've got to fix that. They've got to mend that relationship between QB and OC. But anyway,
we can stay on this topic all day.
The Chiefs also had Eric Bieniemy last year, and look at the Chiefs' offense now, as opposed to what Washington.
Yeah, we can stay on this all day, but like I want to give Bill Belichick all the credit for stuff right now.
We're gonna move on, but that's not what we're about to do here. Eric Bieniemy proof OC matters if you wanted to go there. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we talked about the first quarter, a lot of things happened. Most recently, Chase Claypool, a ton of different storylines surrounding this guy. I mean, Chicago, I think, basically saw what those who watch film saw. Chase Claypool kind of gave up on those guys. I mean, he wasn't running routes. He wasn't blocking. He wasn't putting forth much effort at all. If you're watching the film, it just was kind of, and they were like, you know what? And he was unproductive. They were like, you know, we're going to go ahead and move on from you, good sir. And they did so, and DJ Moore ended up lighting it up. If you have him in fantasy, you're a happy individual this week because he absolutely lit it up. But with that being said, Chase Claypool is now in Miami, down with the likes of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, along with Tua. So they get some size down there at the receiver position. And in return, I believe the Bears get a 6th-round pick or a 7th-round pick or something like that.
6th-round pick.
Yeah, 6th-round pick.
For Claypool in the 7th.
Which is
6th-round pick, 2025 7th-round pick. And
which is pretty wild to think about, because I'm not even going to go down that road. But Chris, give me your thoughts on the entire situation, including this trade.
I think it's funny that, like, as soon as I saw the trade was finally confirmed, there was like an old clip that came up on Twitter saying that Claypool was talking to Brandon Marshall and everybody else saying, like, oh, I believe I'm a top 3 wide receiver. And I'm just like, on your own team? Sure. But it just never manifested in Chicago. And there's also a reason why that, for as horrible as the Steelers' offense been the past 2 years, that they were willing to give up on a young wide receiver just like that. And if Mike McDaniels is a really good offensive play caller, really good schemer, if at this point, if he can't figure out what Claypool is good at, then this guy is probably just going to be playing football, probably not in the NFL. But in regards to Chicago, good for them. At this point, you made a mistake. You realize it. You own up to it. You got pennies on the dollar just to get him out of here. He really didn't do anything well. And I just still remember, like, this one clip where he was just half behind it, even on run blocking. And I'm just like, if at this size you're not even giving your all on run blocking, then what am I doing with you at all? There's a reason why he was a healthy scratch for the last 2 games, and they acted the St. Brown over you. So that attitude's not going to work anywhere, regardless of how good a situation is. So I wish him all the best, and hopefully he'll be able to turn it around. But this is just a really, if you're Chicago, you're kind of relieved, because now you can continue to open up spots for people who actually want to compete.
Yeah. I'm going to say this, and please don't jump down my neck, because I'm not about wishing anybody ill. I don't wish ill on anyone. I don't think Chase Claypool deserves to be on an NFL roster. That's just my personal opinion. After what I saw on that film, I don't believe you literally quit. I don't care what the situation is. I don't care if you don't like your quarterback. I don't care if you don't like your coach. I don't care if you don't like the scheme. I don't care if you don't feel like you're getting enough targets. I don't care. If you're on the field, I stand by this. If you're on the field with me, you better be prepared to go to war. Because every time you step on the NFL football, every time you step on the football field, you're risking your life. So to step on the football field and not block for somebody, not block for your teammates, not go 110% every single play, that's corny and dangerous. To me, it's unacceptable. I can't fathom it. I can't fathom how a team saw that guy and said, we'll give him. I wouldn't touch him with a 1,000-foot pole. You quit on your team. I don't care what we can never win a game. One thing you're never going to hear about Avery on the football field is that there was lack of effort. Like, that is absolutely, that's sick to me. Like, it makes me, as with all of the crap that he put teams through, I'd rather Antonio Brown than Chase Claypool at this point. Because one thing I never had to question with Antonio Brown is whether or not he's going to show up. Like, on the field. Like, if he's playing, he's giving you 110%. Now, whether or not he's going to actually be there is a different story, but he's going to get when I tell you that broke my heart watching that film. I'm like, there's no way. I almost wished it was AI, CGI, Photoshop. That is just egregious to me. It's egregious to me. I don't feel like he should be on the NFL roster, but that's just me. Again, I guess all the best to him. Wish him luck, but I really kind of have washed my hands. I don't care. I don't care if he never plays another down in the NFL. Personal opinion. Juan.
Well, he's Canadian, so maybe the Canadian Football League can use him. But the fact of the matter is, this is a low effort guy that came in who just, it didn't seem like, while the coaching staff of the Bears isn't exactly great in terms of adapting. I mean, it took them about a month for them to finally figure out how to use Justin Fields correctly. But with that in mind, Claypool just has not been what they wanted him to be, a big body 50-50 ball receiver like he was in Pittsburgh during his first 2 years there. But it just didn't work out. The attitude was bad, to say the least. The effort, mediocre. I'm literally on Twitter right now, and I see all these videos of Chase Claypool running routes, and it's just pathetic. I can't even think of a better word for that. And he now in an offense where Mike McDaniel said we don't even need, we weren't even in a position of need for a wide receiver. So literally it was just a flyer on a guy for who knows what. Maybe to scout, because I know that Miami is playing the Bears this season. But apart from that, Chase Claypool, what do you want exactly? Did you want more touches? Do you want more attention to you in an offense? Like, what is it that is going to get you to be your top tier, like, person to be in the NFL? What is it going to take for you to put your A game out there? Because so far it was F tier all the way in Chicago. Your last year in Pittsburgh was at least D tier. What is it that you need to be motivated? If it's not for the love of the game, if it's not for the paycheck that you get playing the game, there's no help for you, buddy.
Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Juan, you hit the nail on the head, man. I think the best word for it is pathetic. It's literally pathetic. And you call yourself or deem yourself a top 3 wide receiver or top 3 wide receiver potential, but then you like name one of the top 3 wide receivers in the NFL, the actual top 3 wide receivers in the NFL that are not going 110% every single down. That's why they're top 3. They go hard in practice. They will go hard in the game. That's why they're top 3. Like, that's like, I just don't, it doesn't make sense to me.
He wasn't even a top 3 pass catcher on his own team. I mean, DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, and Cole Kmet were better pass catchers than he is.
It doesn't make sense to me. It's like if I'm on the practice, like, one thing that's known, whether it's the game or practice, I'm trying to cook you. I'm trying to win every single rep. Period. This is diva behavior. I made it. Whatever. And I don't like being here. And they're not giving me we're not throwing the ball anyway because this guy can't throw it or what. Like, it's absolutely absurd to me. And I say the same thing for Kyle Pitts. Get it together. Like, get it together. I would rather have a scrub who goes 110 miles an hour every play than the most athletic guy who goes hard when his number's called. Get off my team. You're a danger to my health. Like, I'm not okay with that. I'm not going to continue to belabor this point. Chase Claypool is now a Miami Dolphin. So, speaking of Chase Claypool, the Bears in general, let's do a Thursday Night Football recap. Ladies and gentlemen, all I have to say is DJ Moore. DJ Moore. DJ Moore, and then DJ Moore. DJ Moore was absolutely phenomenal. You want to talk about efficient. Let's read these numbers here, ladies and gentlemen. Because here's the thing. I think people see the yards and think that it was like a bunch of catches and stuff as well. No. 8 catches. That's it. Not even double digit. 8 catches. 230 yards. That's an average of 28.8 yards per catch. 3 touchdowns on 10 targets. He literally just scraped double-digit targets, caught 8 of them, and got 230 and 3 tutties. Oh, brilliance. That's somebody who could say, oh, I can make an argument for top 3 receiver in the NFL. Like, you put up numbers like that, then I'll at least listen to you. Chase, do you know what you have on the year? I'm sorry to go back to this. 4 catches, 58 yards, 1 touchdown. Anywho, DJ Moore, the Bears, they lit it up. Justin Fields was absolutely phenomenal. 282 yards, 4 touchdowns. Here's the key. 0 interceptions, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. 0 interceptions. Played really well. Beat the Washington Commanders for their first win. Actually, this is their first win in the last 14 games, ladies and gentlemen. The first win in the last 14 games. So shout out to them. Beat the Washington Commanders, who actually look like a very formidable team. Thoughts on this, Juan? 40-20 win for the Chicago Bears.
Wherever Dick Butkus is right now, he was sending so much defensive energy to a Bears defense that was bottom of the league in many metrics, but was able to develop enough of a pass rush to sack Sam Howell at least 4 times during that game. It might have been more. I lost track after how many times he got hit. But the fact of the matter is, this was a stellar performance by a team who, by all metrics, is not a very good team. Justin Fields showed that he can play at a high level. Almost 300 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, like you said, 0 interceptions, but also no fumbles, no turnovers whatsoever by Justin Fields. And I don't know where the switch flipped. I don't know what exactly. Either he grasped more of the offense or the offense adapted to him, but whatever it is, Justin Fields is playing at a Pro Bowl caliber level these last 2 games. And if he can keep the consistency, that might be where he ends up later this year. DJ Moore, brought in to be a catalyst for a passing game that was lackluster over the last 2 years, is just dynamic. I mean, he is over 500 yards receiving on the season already. Yes, it's a big boost from this past week, definitely. But at the same time, he's also, been fighting to get those touches that he so rightfully needs to produce. The fact of the matter is, and going back to Claypool for a second, DJ Moore is exactly what everyone thought Chase Claypool was supposed to be. He is a dynamic 50-ball receiver with strength, with enough strength to break tackles and enough speed to break away. It is astounding how one player can change an offensive scheme, and that is DJ Moore, who's making the Bears offense at least watchable the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I would agree. You brought up something I do want to touch on. RIP Dick Butkus, legendary linebacker for the aforementioned Chicago Bears. So I don't want that to be missed in the fray of things. Yes, RIP to one of the legends, one of the greatest linebackers to ever step on the field. Actually played multiple positions, but linebacker is what he was primarily known for. So RIP to one of the GOATs. Chris, Bears, Commanders, thoughts?
Finally, Justin Fields has been able to put up back-to-back weeks of really good quarterback play. Not just play on the field, but just in regards to him throwing the football. And honestly, this is a confidence boost that not only he needs, but also the organization needs. in regards to that, because there's been a lot of chattering about what they're going to be doing with their first 2 first-round picks. Should they draft after another quarterback? But this is a completely different Justin Fields than what I've literally been watching over the last 3 years. He steps up. He finally looked like he trusted his pocket. Steps up, throws the balls down the field. And DJ Moore had a Randy Moss against the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving football game, 230 yards, 3 touchdowns. But the biggest thing is that the DJ Moore trade, you're kind of seeing it manifest, and why Justin Fields needed a guy like that, because throughout the entire season, throwing to DJ Moore, Justin Fields has been 27 to 34, 531 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He has a perfect quarterback rating throwing to DJ Moore, which shows you that this is a pair that, as long as they continue to grow and as long as the offensive line will be able to hold up on their part, this is a formidable duo that you can literally build your offense around. In regards to the defense, they finally stopped probably the longest streak in NFL history of allowing more than 25 points in over 20-plus games. And I don't know if it was the legend of Dick Butkus or Matt Eberflus is like, listen, I'm coaching for my job today. And he just absolutely let the dogs loose. But enough about Chicago. In regards to Washington, Eric Bieniemy has to stop getting cute with his wide receiver rotations. You have Jahan Dotson, you have Terry McLaurin, and you have Curtis Samuel. There's really no reason why you need to continue to swap these guys out with Denami Brown, Logan Thomas, and every single other receiver core. This isn't the Chiefs wide receiver core you have. You have 3 upper echelon wide receivers that you have. So those guys should be in taking every single snap. And their pass to run ratio got so horrible because they were down 17-0 that the running game could become completely obsolete. So Washington has shown that they can win football games, but Eric Bieniemy has got to show a better balance if this team wants to continue to win football games and potentially try to fight for a playoff spot this year.
3 for 45. And where is it? 3 for 30. So 75 yards on 6 catches combined for Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson, respectively. And I say that as a guy who has both of these guys on my fantasy team. Eric Bieniemy, you have weapons, my friend. You have a solid offensive line. You have a quarterback that's Ryan Fitzpatrick-esque, Baker Mayfield-esque, and a running game that is dynamic with Brian Robinson as your heavy hitter, and number 24. I draft him every year. I forget his name.
Antonio Gibson.
Antonio Gibson. Sorry, I'm terrible with names, guys. You know that. Who are you? But yeah, you have weapons. You have a good line. This offense is good. Not great, but good. And with the right coaching and play calling, it can be great. You left KC to try to make a name for yourself and try to amplify your chances of being a head coach. Step up to the plate, Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree 100%. I think he's definitely got a – I'm not saying get more vanilla, right? But to Chris's point, use the guys that are proven guys. They're good. They're good enough to do whatever in your scheme you would like them to do. They've got the talent. Scary Terry is scary for a reason. Let him do what he does. Curtis Samuel shows at week in and week out that he's still a formidable receiver in the NFL. Is he a top guy? No, but you better cover him. And then, obviously the running game can be really good with Brian Robinson Jr., with Antonio Gibson, and that tandem, and Antonio catching the ball out of the backfield. I think they could be, to Juan's point, I think they could be a really, really good offense. But again, I think this is just the ebbs and flows of a new coordinator, young quarterback. They just came together. So there's still some gelling that needs to happen. You got to understand they have to stem the tide now, right? They face some adversity. Now it's time to stem the tide. Now it's time to get back on track, right? And we'll see if they can do that. I think I'm not too worried about the Commanders in that regard. I think they're probably having these type of discussions. Like, all right, listen, fellas, like we may be trying to do too much. Let's go ahead and get back to the bread and butter of what we do. Let's figure this thing out. We're a good team, and we have an opportunity to sneak into the playoffs potentially. So I think they're having those conversations. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to jump right into our game picks. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, our game picks. So I want to give the updated stats for everybody, okay? So last week I went 9-7, putrid, forgive me, everyone, bringing my total to 37-27. All right, then Mr. Christopher Thomas went 10-6, very solid, and that brings his total to a tie with me at 37-27. And last but not least, Mr. One and Only, absolutely killing us this season. This past week went 12-4, very good, and brings his total to 42-22. He's got 5 games on us. So with that being said, Juan, you have the privilege of giving us your game picks first, okay? Remember, game picks are very simple. Give us your picks, and that's it, except for one game that you can explain. All right, let's hear it.
Before I do, I just want to say 2 of us got PNF wrong for this week. I picked the Commanders. Avery also picked the Commanders, and Chris had faith. He picked Chicago, so he's off to a great start. With that being said,
he didn't pick Chicago. He picked Justin Fields. Let's call it what it is.
Well, yeah, but who has Justin Fields? Chicago. So we can add asterisks all we want, my friend, but a win's a win, no matter what. I mean, the Eagles are struggling, but they're still 4-0. For my game picks, I'm going to go with Buffalo over Jacksonville in London. I'm going to take that's a good matchup here. I'm going to take Houston over Atlanta. I'm going to take Detroit all the way against Carolina. I will take the Colts over the Tennessee Titans. Miami over the Giants. I'll take New Orleans. Don't let me down against New England. Baltimore over Pittsburgh. Philadelphia over the Rams. It has to be more imaginative and creative. Zeros are talented, but with Sam Howell QB, you do have as much balance as possible. Yeah, I'd say like perfectly put, Ray. Like
I agree, Ray.
Howell, I feel like can be a good game manager quarterback. He is Baker Mayfield / Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like basically, he's a risky 50-50 taker who, isn't talented but is daring and has a pretty decent arm. So, I'm gonna go with Arizona to beat Cincinnati, the Jets to beat Denver, the Chiefs to beat Minnesota, and may I undip the hoodie, sir?
Oh, he's gonna do it, ladies and gentlemen.
If y'all haven't been able to tell, I've been wearing. You can already tell what color I'm wearing, but I am taking the San Francisco 49ers to beat the Dallas Cowboys. So I'll take San Fran. And then my explainer game is Monday night. Green Bay at Las Vegas. So the fact that it matters, Green Bay is coming into this game with one thing in mind: beat Devontae Adams. Adams has been the top receiver for Las Vegas, despite the rotation of quarterbacks he's been through, despite the scheme that Josh McDaniels run that has not done him much favors. He's basically like the only option that they have left outside of Josh Jacobs in the running game. But the defense is putrid. Your only good pass rusher is Max Crosby. You lost Chandler Jones to reasons that we're not even going to dive into right now. And the secondary has been piss poor, to say the least. Green Bay has some hope because the defense is still solid, despite Quay Walker always doing stupid stuff. Like, how many times has he been kicked out of the game this year? Like twice already? How many times has he lost his cool? And yet that defense is still top tier. And to see Devontae play against his old team, going up against Jair Alexander is going to be a heck of a battle. I am so excited to see that. And then the QB battle. I mean, it's not really much of a competition because Jimmy G is not the quarterback that he used to be. And Jordan Love has showed spurts that he can't be that guy. He can't be that dude. And I am hopeful that he will be that dude. That's why I'm taking Green Bay to beat the Las Vegas Raiders.
I like it. I like it. I like it. Not bad. Not bad. Just a quick note there. I agree. I am looking forward to that Jair Alexander versus Devontae Adams matchup. I think this week is the week that Jair Alexander gets exposed. Yes, I said it, ladies and gentlemen. He gets exposed. Now, when I say exposed, I'm not saying that he's a bum. Absolutely not. But he is not top 5, ladies and gentlemen. He's not. I've been saying this for a couple years now. He's really good. Okay? Top 10, top 15, sure. Not top 5. I think Devontae Adams proves that this week. Like, hey, Jair, you're good. You're really good. You're all pro good. You're not top 5, though. You're not top 5. So when I say exposed, I say that very loosely, okay? Like, it doesn't drop him out of the top 15. Just going to show that there's guys that are better than you. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. And yes, Jordan Love has definitely shown flashes. Chris, game picks and one explainer.
You're muted, buddy.
Oh, so Jacksonville's in London for the second week in a row?
That's correct.
Oh wow.
Let's just call it. Let's start calling them the London Jaguars. I think that's just.
Yeah. So let me get Buffalo over Jacksonville, Indiana over Tennessee, New Orleans over New England, Baltimore over Pittsburgh, Houston over Atlanta, Detroit over Carolina, Miami over the Giants. I'm gonna pick Arizona over Cincinnati as well. Jets over Denver as well. Kansas City over Minnesota. Philadelphia over the Rams. I'm gonna shock you. I'm actually going to pick Dallas to actually beat San Fran this week. And I think the reason why I think this is the game that Dak has circled on his calendar, that if you want to be considered an upper echelon, legitimate Super Bowl contender, this is the game that you have to show up and you have to show out. Dallas's offensive line is finally projected offensive line is finally healthy for the first time this year. You have the weapons: Brandon Cooks, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb. Their secondary isn't really nothing to write home about. Their pass rush is, but if their offensive line is healthy, then Dak has no excuse not to show up and show out in this game.
How many times has it been that it's been San Francisco that kicks out Dallas? I think 3 years in a row now. 2020, definitely it. Then 2021 and 2022.
No comments. No comment. No comments. Is Chris back?
Don't believe.
All right, so we'll wait for Chris to get back so we can then get the rest of his game picks. In the meantime, I'm going to jump in here and do my game picks. Off to a bad start, of course. Commanders. Wow, y'all got pooped on, but it is what it is. DJ Moore. Texans versus the Falcons. Man, listen, we got to bounce back. Okay, we got to bounce back. Give me my boys at home. All right. Give me the Falcons. Jaguars versus the Bills. Give me the Bills in London. Titans versus the Colts. I'm going to save. That's my explainer game. Saints versus the Patriots. Give me, I hate to say it, but give me the Saints. Ravens versus the Steelers. Give me Baltimore. Panthers versus the Lions. Give me The Lions, Giants versus the Dolphins. Give me the Dolphins, Chris. We'll get back to your game picks very shortly.
Got it. Sorry about that.
Yep, no worries. Bengals versus the Cardinals. I'm gonna say this is the week they turn it around. Give me the Bengals. Eagles versus the Rams. Give me the EAG less. Jets versus the Broncos. Give me the Broncos, actually. Chiefs versus the Vikings. Give me the Chiefs. Cowboys versus the 49ers. 49ers. Packers versus the Raiders. Give me the Pack. And my explain game was the Titans versus the Colts. This is easily the hardest game of the week to pick for me. The Titans defense is playing pretty good, particularly against the run. Like the Titans defense looks really, really, really good there. The Colts, there's so much up in the air. Is Jonathan Taylor coming back? Is he going to play? What's going to happen with that situation? Anthony Richardson comes back after injury. He's been playing really good, but can he be a solid defense in the Titans? He is still a rookie. Ryan Tannehill, like, are you going to show up? What's going to happen there? Like, DeAndre Hopkins, what's happening? Are we still top 10? What's going on? Are we going to get some movement here? It's a really hard game to call. To be completely honest, I don't really have a pick in this game. Like I don't know how to pick this one. So I don't know. I'm just going to take a shot in the dark here and say Indy. I really don't. I don't have a pick. I'm going to go with the Colts, but part of me wants to go with the Titans. I'm 50-50 all the way through and through. I might change my pick right before the game. I don't know, but I'll start with the Colts. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Chris,
yeah.
Let's get back to your game picks, Chris, and then Warren, we'll let you jump in.
Oh, I have one last one. Green Bay over the Raiders.
Thank you so much. Warren, you were about to say.
No, Green Bay over the Raiders. Yeah, no, that's everyone. Just a heads up: Cleveland, the Chargers, Seattle, and Tampa Bay are all on bye weeks. The bye week season begins.
Bye week season begins. Speaking of Tampa Bay, surprisingly 3-1, ladies and gentlemen, 3-1. Baker Mayfield playing some pretty good football. I hate to say it, but it's true.
Baker Mayfield is that dude where like he needs adversity to succeed. Not exactly a great formula for a league where as soon as you start succeeding. But hey, what do you want to do?
I don't want peace. I want problems always.
Yeah, I'm not. Listen, I don't like it. I'm in that division, so I don't like it. I hope he throws 8 picks against us. Anywho, ladies and gentlemen, that is the Air It Out podcast. Thank you so much for joining. We had a good show today. Chris, excellent. Ron, excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, please do me a favor. Go follow us on all of your streaming platforms, okay? Please do that. Please do that, okay? All the streaming platforms, okay? Instagram and Facebook, Inside the Hashes. Twitter, Inside Hashes. Matter of fact, go on Spotify. Listen to the podcast, okay? And then go to YouTube, right? And then hit the like button. Do that first. But then after that, I need you to hit the subscribe button. But then when you're done with that, could you please turn on notifications for when we go live? That way you can get your comments put in the live show, just like you saw here today. And if you don't do that, please do this. Go to the website, www.insidethehashes.com. That way you can get all types of football content, blogs, gaming, podcasts, interviews, the whole shebang, okay? A smorgasbord of football is right at your fingertips, ladies and gentlemen. And listen, if you don't want to go to these places individually, all you got to do is scan this QR code right here in this corner. Scan that QR code right there. It'll take you exactly where you need to be, okay? It'll take you exactly where you need to be for all things Air It Out and Inside the Hashes. But this is the Air It Out podcast for the one and only, for Christopher Thomas. My name is Avery, and it's been a pleasure, gentlemen. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Saturday. It's going to be an interesting week of football. We got some really good games coming up. I think that, honestly, The Commanders should have won that game. But I see something that Sam Howell does. He pats the football like Matt Ryan.
No, stop it. Look, I'm just going to cover this up by saying that Giannis and Damian Lillard are going to be the best duo in the NBA this season. It's going to be an impossible team to stop, man.
Stop.